Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Thomas and Friends Season 12 review. And also, this is the first season to have CGI model faces, but not with the full model, the full CGI. But it will actually do it in the Hero the Rails after one. So anyway, season 12 is aired on
Yeah.
2008 in the UK and the US. And also, before I start this, I have guests who's want to join me if it's and his name is Willy Games, aka French Moise. He is a fan of Thomas and Friends. Please to introduce yourself, my man.
Is yo. I don't know what else to say, so there you go.
Thomas in the billboard. Diesel occurs Thomas in the photograph of the engines. Trivia, this is the first episode to feature animations from the Nitrogen Studios. Once again, with the CGI, faces, everything. They look okay, but Edward's face, God, that looks so creepy, man.
Yeah.
I really don't like it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I really
Yeah,
love
especially
is Thomas helping one of Diesel's jobs in the end. That one is pretty amazing.
yeah.
Well, I have to say
Yeah, I
this,
agree with
guys.
that too.
I really don't know if the beginning kind of works out pretty well, but I just like it by the way. But also, why the hell would a camera manager want to tell Diesel to move up? Does he do it because he wants to, or does he hate Thomas? If that's so, then screw you. Seriously, like, what even, man? Like, what
Exactly.
even? Like, what even? And also, again, Thomas gets mad and yeah, he throws a billboard off the ocean and then tells the camera manager to do it again. So so once again, Thomas tells all the engines to come back at the Timmins sheds for another picture without Diesel. So again, like even without
Yeah, I
Diesel's
think it
fault,
was
it's
a
not
lot people
Diesel's
do better.
fault. By the way, it's not Diesel's fault. Like actually, even when they get mad at Thomas, why the actual hell did they get mad at Thomas? Like, did did they just want to get mad at him because they think this fault? No, it's the camera manager's fault. Like seriously, he's the one who just actually move and tell Diesel to move in front of him. Like seriously, like just actually getting mad at Thomas isn't a fall idea. By the way, Sir Topham Hat never blames on Thomas, which is a good thing, and it's a good thing only. But once again, guys, it's just confusing for me to say, but it's not a bad episode or a horrible episode either. But it's just a 5 out of 10 for a episode.
All of that I completely agree with. But there's my rating on it. And for those who like the episode or anything and hear my opinion, please don't take it personal. It is my opinion, but here it is. Here's my rating. It's 3 out of 10.
You mean it's a 7 out of 10
Mainly
for the
because,
episode?
well, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for that, but the actual episode itself is kind of mainly because of the beginning and stuff. So yeah,
Steady Eddie. Edward takes the Great Waterton water wheel
yes,
on a scenic route to show off his friends, and as a result, loses it and ends up on a Greenwich train to the smelter's yards. Trivia: this is the first episode that's written by Shire Miller as the head writer. Now, if people thinking that season 13 was the first season to have Shire Miller as the head writer, wrong. Shire Miller is the head writer from season 12, so yeah. And I love the part where Edward chasing the water wheel. I love that one. That one is pretty fun, but again, like, also, if Edward shows off, is he like James, for example? Like he's a copy of James? He's like a copy of James and like just like put it in, right, for example. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
that just kind of mess it up though. Again, again the
Yeah.
chasing theme, I kind of like that one. But again, it will become a
But
favorable
yeah.
result on Thomas in the water wheel on Big Adventure season 22 episode. Anyway, enough rambling about that. So let's talk about Edward's character in this. So Edward Edward's character is all right. We didn't see no problem with it, but his face, oh god. Not again. What did they have done to his face? Like, God, look at it. It looks so creepy. Ugh, God.
Oh my.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Oh,
Yeah, because of the
God.
pupils. It's the pupils that concerns me in this season for me.
Yeah, that one.
While
Yeah,
the rest
that
are
one's
while the
just.
rest of the characters have big ones.
Yeah, his like pupils are like kind of small, by the way. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's one of the most concerning things to me in this season.
But anyway, enough said. I'll give this rating a 7 out of 10. So yeah.
Me too. Me too.
Rosie Rosie's Carnival Special, or in the UK, Rosie's Fun Fair Special. Rosie and Emily are pulling a train for a fair, but Rosie wants to pull alone. Trivia: Stepney doesn't have a CGI face when trucks hit him. In a rare picture, he does. This is reportedly due to how hard it would have been to give up his CGI face when he was covered in sugar. Also, this is the last appearance of Stepney, so farewell to Stepney, guys.
A fallen angel took my heart tonight, and maybe it's
Farewell. I'm saluting. You can't tell, but I'm saluting.
I love the part where Rosie pulls the fun fair train all by herself. I just kind of like that one. But again, if people think that this episode is horrible, then they all have to disagree with whatever it is their opinion or their opinion. But anyway, I just love this
Yeah.
episode. I love it. Like Rosie pulling the fun fair train
Yeah,
all by
it's
herself
alright.
is just amazing. Like I know she gets in trouble by that, but again, once he does it right, he does it right. I mean, or she does it right. Sorry for the gender, but anyway, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's 8 for me. It was so.
Mountain Marvel. Peter Sam rushes to finish his jobs in order to hear the tale about Proteus from a famous storyteller, Miss Marvel, when finds a very special statue of the magical engine himself. And also, this is the last of Mighty speaking role to date, so we're not going to be seeing him since the Nitrogen era. So yeah. Anyway, I like
Sad.
when Peter Sam help everyone to do his jobs in the end. That one kind of feel like it's alright. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the middle one, I just don't see that very much. I mean, also, how about like if Peter Sam asked Freddy to actually pull the Proteus statue, that'll like make it better than having Peter Sam to do every jobs. Like especially when having too much jobs, he would actually had to help everyone. So yeah, even when life is hard, guys, just you got to help. Just honestly, just don't stand there, do nothing, just help. Okay, just help.
Exactly. Life lesson from a bid.
Hmm. Also, I love the ending. The ending was alright, but it doesn't feel rushed just like the other episodes was. But hopefully they're not. But in my opinion, this episode we should give it a 7 out of 10.
Mine is 8 out of 10. Here we go.
Henry gets it wrong. Henry worries about the workmen are going to cut down the wishing tree, so he blocks the tracks, only to find that the workmen are actually trying to save the tree. In a rare photo, Harold appears in his model form instead of full CGI. I have no highlights. Now, anyway, guys, before you ask, Henry's character is just out of it. He's just like fully out of it. Now, I'm not saying he's like out of it in the classic era, but in this episode, he's just out of it. Like, I mean, I know what Henry's worries about it, but should Henry actually doesn't worry about the workman trying to cut down the wishing tree, but they're actually trying to save the tree? First of all, what the hell is Henry even thinking about even cutting down the wishing tree? I mean, people are not even cutting down the wishing tree. I mean, just relax, Henry. Jeez, calm down. But, I mean, they're actually trying to save the tree for once. Jesus. But, still, like, Henry, if you're, like, going to actually have to get out of this, but just please don't start acting like that in this. And also, if the Night Ranger era, if they actually put Henry's wimpy character in this, then they need to stop putting Henry's wimpy character in this, because this is not actually as Henry. This is like a bit of a Tobys wimp feel like in this. Like, I'm seeing like Toby and stuff like that just happened. And also, why did Henry wants to block the tree? Like, does he want to do that instead of workman trying to cut down the tree? The workman doesn't want to cut down the wishing tree. They want to save the tree, not to cut down. I mean, chill, Henry. I mean, it's alright. But again, the ending it's just alright. But again, it's just not okay episode. It's a 3 out of 10 for me. It's bad. It's so bad.
6 out of 10. It's not great.
Heave Ho Thomas, a large new tank engine called Hank arrives, but Thomas is determined not to need his help. Trivia: Hank's theme is an interdimensional version of Hollow to the Chief. I'm not sure if that's a reference to that, but again, I'm not sure. I love it, the part where Thomas is determined not to pull lots of loads and does not need help from Hank. Like, I love it. Like, I just love like Thomas's character in this. I just love him so much. I just love him so much. And again, you feel bad for him while he breaks down, and it's so sad, honestly. It's so sad. Again, once again, this wonderful episode will give it a 10 out of 10. It's just fabulous.
Yeah, and fun little fact from me with this episode: this was the very first episode of season 12 I've ever saw, especially when I was a little kid. And yeah, now for the rating, it is a 7 for me, but it's still a good episode. It's still great.
Okay, Toby's special surprise. Toby wants to make an impression by searching Sodor for something special. True, this episode was aired in the UK and on the US release of The Great Discovery. What can I even say about this? I love Toby's character in this. He doesn't feel whip at all, like, but other times he feels whip in this episode, and yeah, that's it. But again, when something surprise happening to him, that's what he gets to deserve, honestly. and in the beginning you really kind of feel bad for him, and he really doesn't like, he feels sad at all, not like pulling the special surprise at all. But when he does something, but when he gets something special, you really do feel proud for him, honestly, and that's what this makes him special, because different is always special, y'all. Different is always special, and that's why this episode will give it a 10 out of 10.
Me too, especially the ending for me. I was not expecting it at all. So, absolutely fantastic. Great episode. 10 out of 10.
Excellent Emily. Emily becomes convincing after receiving praise from Sir Topham Hatt, aka the Fat Controller. Does she not listen to her, Murdoch's, advice when she has to take Trevor to clean the airport runaway? This is the first appearance of Dowager Hat's in CGI model, where we get to see her in full CGI in the Series 13. But again, let's not waste about that. Now, anyway, Emily's character in this, I just don't like her. I just don't like her in this. Like, her attitude is just not the way how it feels like. Like, again, once again, if she does not listen to Murdoch's advice, then what is the point of not listening to her, okay? Have some listening skills, or have some focus on that. Whatever it feels like, if has that better sense. If Emily wants to do her own way, then shouldn't you just like ask for help and not listen instead? Like, seriously, what the actual hell, Emily? Like, seriously, even with this, you're still being so rude, okay? Even with that, you're still being bossy. Even with not listening, you're still not listening, okay? This is not the Emily that I've never ever seen, okay? This is some actual girl character that does not listen to someone's advice and just keeps on doing it, and nothing just like keeps on doing it and nothing. And that's why this episode we should give it a 0 out of 10. It's horrible as hell.
Fair enough. For mine, unfortunately, was an 8. But again, everything I completely agree with.
Party surprise. Freddy's decides to organize a winter party from Mr. Percival's house to a wharf as a surprise for Colin the Crane. Trivia. This is the first and only appearance of Colin. However, he was supposed to be appearing in King of the Railway as a concept art of the film by Guccio Studios shows that he would be based at the Oldstep Castle. So that's a concept art of showing how the King of the Railway is showing how Colin will be appearing, but they just use it as a concept art, by the way. Anyway, this episode is just okay. I just don't find it rather not fun at all, but actually I kind of like the way how people have a winter party for Colin the Crane. I just kind of like it. But again, the beginning of that is just alright. The middle, I kind of felt was nearly not that better. But should Freddy ask Mr. Percival earlier, didn't ask all the engines? I mean, that would be better than having that. But again, it would be just better. So yeah. But I just like when there's a winter party in front of Colin the Crane. But again, it could be a little better, but Denny is alright. It's alright. Well, it's just a 4 out of 10 for a
Yeah.
episode. I don't kind of feel like it, but Freddy should like decide to ask Mr. Percival first, then ask all the other engines. Save you. Thomas wants to prove his heroism. Heroism? I'm not sure what it is. When he learns a
yeah.
fireman to
Heroism.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that. But instead
Yeah.
causes trouble
No problem.
for the other engines. Trivia. A concept art of this episode that shows Sir Topham Hatt's assistance, or refers
Assistance.
to the men as miners. So yeah, that's a concept art of that. Well, guys, here I go again with this. Now, actually, this is not even Thomas's character's fault in this. Actually, this is some other hero, Thomas's character, into some actual Percy in this. And what did he do? Nothing. He did absolutely nothing. He is Percy Jr., a clone with Percy in it. Instead, he causes trouble for the other engines, and that's why the writers think that if Thomas's character is popular in this, why can't they use Percy in this? Like, I don't understand. Like, instead of Thomas, like, Thomas doesn't actually have to appear in this. Like, even without him, use for example like Percy, for example. Like, Percy be annoying, it causes troubles for the engines, not Thomas. Thomas is cheeky. That's why. So, you can't just decide to, oh look, we want to put Thomas in our episode because we think because he's so annoying, ha ha ha, I want to cause the trouble for other engines, ha ha ha. Like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works, okay? Even with that, no, that is not how he works in this. So once again, this is a 0 out of 10 for a horrible episode, and that is not how head writers put Thomas's character in this episode, in this story, and this is not how he works.
Set. Oh god, what I said that right there.
Duncan in the hot air balloon. Mr. Percival's twin are getting a role in the hot air balloon for their birthday, but Duncan wants to take them himself. True, this is the last appearance of the hot air balloon to date. Now, before we get into this, here's some few weakable or unquestionable moments here to date. Now, anyway, here's one question that I really kind of disagree on that, and is Duncan kind of rushing a little bit and wants to take him by himself. Now, again, this kind of feels like it's a bit strange on that, but Duncan just pulling the hot air balloon, it doesn't work, honestly. It doesn't work. I mean, if Duncan had the hot air balloon on the card, then none of this would happen, honestly. But again, it still happens right after when the red hot balloon was cracked by a needle in Mr. Percival's house. Now, this episode I find it rather not great at all, but I just don't feel like this episode is just like not memorable at all. But if Duncan wants to take himself, then geez, Duncan, don't be greedy. I mean, we know you don't have to be greedy, honestly. But anyway, this episode is just 5 out of 10. It's just okay. But if Duncan wants to take himself, then he needs to stop being greedy, honestly. That's I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a 5 for me too.
Same.
It could have been better.
James works it out. When James ignores Hector's advice, he gets caught in a bad winter weather. Trivia: in the newest narration, Hector gains a Spanish accent and no longer has a deep voice. And that is Michael Brandon, who gave Hector a Spanish accent. That's interesting. I love when
yes.
Hector giving James an advice from pulling trucks in the end. I just kind of like that one. That one is amazing.
Me too. Yeah.
I love James' character in this, but when he ignores Hector's advice, I know people are just gonna type in the comments saying like, Abel, why do you like this episode so much? I love it because of James's character and Hector, for example. I just love two of those. Those two are amazing. But when they got caught in a bad winter weather, that's when they had to like pull the trucks in the end. And I just like it. It's 10 out of 10.
Mine is a 6, so I'm kind of mixed because of James's character.
Tram Trouble. Tobys have a new steam tram called Flora, or leading to a parade at Great Waterton. Thomas thinks Tobys would rather lead the event on his own and tries to distract Flora. Trivia: Tobys and the new steam tram Flora are heading a parade at Great Waterton. Thomas thinks Tobys would rather lead the event on his own to distract Florida. Anyway, Thomas's character in this is kind of like 50-50, but it's not actually that bad as bad territory, or horrible territory, should I say. Now let's talk about this story. Now, actually, Tobys wants to lead the parade, and Flora wants to lead the parade for himself. But actually, I think of it's just kind of confusing a little bit. But should Thomas ask first to top him hat to think that Tobys wants to lead the parade, or actually lead it after Flora? But I'm not sure if he willing tries to distract Flora, by the way. But even distraction, it doesn't like kind of work at all. But use Henry Stickman for example. Like, use it for that. Like, that one is amazing. The distraction that was amazing too. But when he tries to distract Flora from like Tobys and stuff, I just kind of feel like it's just either way around if it's just not that great, for example. So anyway, Thomas's character was actually 50-50. What I mean by that is that he's just actually 50% of Percy's character, Percy Jr., and 50% character of his own character. Now, I really think that Thomas should actually ask for Topham Hat if Tobys wants to lead the parade after Flora was. But again, if Tobys Florida both wants to, then especially in the ending, yeah. But the beginning of the middle is kind of like feel kind of not that rush. But when he tries to distract Florida from anything, it kind of feels like it's just not that either way around. But it's not that not amazing to me. Amazing. So anyway, this episode we should give it a 4 out of 10.
Mine's a 5. It could have been better.
Don't go back. Thomas and Diesel race backwards instead of doing their work, causing him to crash into Mavis, Airy, and Bert. After crashing them in the shed, Diesel says, "Oh no" in the UK narration, but says, "Uh-oh" in the US. I just don't like have no highlight in this. So anyway, Diesel, here's the one thing I want to say to you, and that is, don't even think about telling Thomas to race backwards because it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Honestly, it's not gonna work. And some people actually put, and actually writers actually write this. Like, that's a shame. Honestly, that's a shame. But again, if Thomas wants to do all of his jobs, then should he like ask Diesel, Diesel, please don't, I am seriously busy right now. Like, does he want to do it earlier, or I don't know, because this episode feels like it's just not good or anything. It's just like when Thomas gets distracted by not doing his jobs at all, and Diesel tell him what to do. Like seriously, nobody asked you, Diesel. Nobody asked you to tell Thomas to race backwards, okay? Nobody asked you to tell Thomas to race backwards. This is causing a little bit confusion and delay in this episode. Like, seriously. And after that, the manager decided to blame Thomas, and after everything of this. Like, seriously. Even if they blame on Thomas, it's Diesel's fault. It's not Thomas, it's Diesel's fault. Like, seriously. And this is what happens when you actually tell someone to race backwards and crash into someone, and that is not gonna help. That is not gonna help too. And that's why this episode should give it 0 out of 10 for me.
Just mine, it's just a 5, but it was still terrible.
Gordon takes a shortcut. Gordon gets lost while taking a shortcut and refuses to ask Duck, Oliver, and Toad for help. Trivia: Bill, Oliver, Arian, Burr, and Toad's last appearance in the Mall series. Yeah. And actually after that, they'll become after in season 17. So, yeah. And also, I'm not going to be reviewing seasons 13 through 16. No. They're so horrible. Actually, I love Gordon's intense theme in season 12. I love this. I kind of just feel like I'm cheering for Gordon right there. Honestly, I'm cheering for Gordon right there. I love it. But again, while it takes a shortcut, it's alright, honestly. Alright. But again, like, I love Gordon's character in this. Gordon's character feels like it's almost better and fully better than the classic era. This one is just feels like it's just amazing. And you feel like you're like cheering for Gordon as well. I love it. And this is, once again, 10 out of 10. Amazing.
Mine is a 7. Mine is practically a 7, so yeah, it was still good. It was a great episode.
And in the hills, Thomas and the Narrowgate engine collects presents for Mr. Percival's birthday. Trivia: A Man in the Hills is based upon a long man of Willy, which is on a steep hillside northwest of a Heathbrown. On a southwestern England, may be based upon the Man on the Moon. The title be also referenced along the side of the Fool on the Hill from the 1967 The Magical Mystery Tour. I like how it's a reference in the song of that. I just love it. Okay, so let's talk about this story. Now, Thomas wants to collect a man that is a white dress and that is dressed from a man in the hills. Now, after that, the windmill thinks that some people think that the windmill is dressed as a white person from the man in the hills, but actually it's not. And the other engines get mad at Thomas. So when did this happen? I mean, I know Sir Handel talks about the Man in the Hills. Like, I'm not sure if he talks about it, but again, I know he talks about it. But Thomas's character was just I don't know, out of place. But this episode should be a little confusing for me to say this, but it's horrible by the way. But once again, I just don't feel like this episode is kind of surprising at all. But it's just horrible.
7. Mine's a 7, but it was still not that good. Like, I didn't get a whole lot of satisfaction with.
Thomas puts the brakes on. Thomas brakes malfunction while delivering bricks to repair a bridge. And does he not listen when Stanley tells him to have his brakes checked? Trivia: behind the scenes footage for the Great Discovery shown Priest Barnson during this episode. I just kind of like how there's behind the scenes in this. I just love it. Anyway, now on to the story. Now, Thomas never listens to Stanley. Now, again, this is Percy Jr.'s character in this, taken away from Thomas's character in this. Now, you may ask, Thomas's season 12 model is Percy Jr., and he's a clone of that. He does not listen while he had his brakes checked. Now, again, I'm actually kind of a bit confused. Like, why can't Thomas actually to have his brakes checked after delivering bricks to repair a bridge? That would make a lot of sense than having like his brakes malfunction and not working. That would be pretty better. But again, this episode is not horrible and it's a meh episode. So 5 out of 10.
When I first saw this, it was a 8. But yeah, it could have been better.
Percy in the bandstand. Percy is taken with Lady Hat to a surprise party, but the unknown Lady Hat tells him to go somewhere else. Trivia: where a rare picture shows that Percy's reflection in the water with his model sad face rather with the CGI face. Now the highlights, y'all know. Percy being a badass to a trucks and blowing do as I say whistle. I love it. I just love it so much. And I just like when Percy's whistle
Me too.
that, like do as I say whistle. I just like saying that. More like the Percy saying do as I say. I just feel like I just love it. And I just kind of felt like this episode should be a lot more better if Percy asked Lady Hat first, then taking him somewhere else, because that one will be a lot better than having her taking him somewhere else. Like, that would be making a lot of sense. But again, this episode should be a lot better, but it's not. So 4 out of 10.
Like with the last episode, this one's another 8 for me.
Push me, pull you. Scarlet refused Rhaenys to help to pull a train for a puppet show, and ends up playing the trucks as games. Trivia: Duncan's last appearance until the 18th series episode, Duncan and a grumpy passenger. So I had to wait for that. That's gonna take a long time. But anyway, I'm not gonna do the Nitrogen era review on seasons 13 to 16 because, like I said, those ones are horrible as hell. Anyway, this story it's just so horrible. Now, I'm not saying like some engines are horrible. No, I'm not saying that. Skarloey, the one, is horrible in this. And this is how he's not immature enough. Now, Skarloey refused Rhaenys to pull a train, but he does it as like, you know, push me and pull you. Also, what the hell is this like push me and pull you story kind of thing? Like, what is this supposed to mean by that? Like, head writer, explain what does it mean. Explain what the story means. The story doesn't even count, as it is a horrible territory of that. And this is what happens when he puts Skarloey's character in not so immature one and acts so annoying character in this and tries to do some idiotic stuff and then crashes into a pond. This is what this episode is, right? And let's not make how stupid Rheneas pulls a freight train and just pulls it off somewhere else. And then Scarloey wants to do it for myself. Honestly, this is not how it works. Like Scarloey, like honestly, this is not you, okay? If it's you from the classic era, then I will agree. And if it's you from this, no thank you. This is 0 out of 10. This
Nuh-uh.
is not.
No. 6. Just.
Last episode, last but not least, best friends. Thomas tries to avoid telling Percy while he was giving a job Percy wants to do. Trivia, this is the final episode filmed at Chipperton Studios. And I love the ending as well. The ending was alright. The middle one is just, I kind of felt like it should be like a lot better. The beginning one was just not alright too. But shouldn't like Thomas ask Percy first while he was like given a job? But why did he want to like avoid telling Percy that? Does he want to because of that? I don't know. This is not how episode works like this. But again, the ending was alright, and I'll give this episode a 5 out of 10.
My final rating to the final episode would be a 9 out of 10. Because of everything else besides the Met parts.
Actually, so before we're gonna end this off, here are my stats. So season 12, my stats have 7/great/excellent episodes, 7 meh episodes, and 6 bad/horrible episodes. So the rating for season 12 would be a 4.5 out of 10 for a meh season. Now let's check out Willy's stats. Now Willy's stats are season 12 or 17 great/excellent episodes, 3 meh episodes, and 0 bad/horrible episodes. And the rating from season 12 from him is an 8 out of 10 for an excellent season.
Yeah.
Now here are one of my top 5 best episodes. Number 5, James Works It Out. Number 4, Gordon Takes a Shortcut. Number 3, Rosies Carnival Special. Number 2, He Ho Thomas. And number 1 is Tobys Special Surprise. And now here are Willy's top 5 best episodes. Number 5, Thomas Puts the Brakes On. Number 4, Percy in a Bandstand. Number 3, The Party Surprise. Number 2, Best Friends. And number 1 is Tobys Special Surprise. So thanks again for Willy for joining me this.
No problem, mate.
So again,
It was quite something to do this.
yeah, it's fun. So again, I'll be reviewing season 17. I'm not sure what I'm gonna review at that. We're probably on the next year. So yeah, this is the last review. So anyway, if you guys like this the video that I did with Willy, please leave a like and go subscribe to my first channel, my second channel, and yeah, that's it. See you guys then. Take care, y'all.